everybody, it's Kelly with Kellyscards.ca, and I'm so glad you can join me. This is the second card in the Everyday Card Kit number 4, and for this card I've picked something a little vintagey, and a lot of people were asking about scraps, what you can do with scraps. Well, this is what you can do with scraps. So I've had all of these papers and I had just a little bit left. So what do you do with those types of papers? You can layer them like so to make a background. And when you see after we've put this card together with all the inking, it really makes this card very, very interesting. So there's a lot of things you can do with scraps. This is one of them. And to just kind of go over what's in this card, of course, I've got these strips and the bird image with the little mat. We've got this little die cut butterfly, as well as this big butterfly and this scripty hello, and I'll discuss what companies those are from as we go. So to start out, what we're going to do is we're going to distress all of these strips and the image. You can distress the doily in the background, or we can just leave it and see what it looks like after. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to distress all of these strips and this butterfly image. So to start out, what I'm going to do is I am going to bring in my vintage photo, and we're just going to start inking up some of these strips. This is just going to add so much interest to this card. If we didn't distress them, it would still look okay, but I think you're going to see quite a difference once we get these all layered. They're going to really help each stick out. So we're just going to keep distressing them here. And you don't have to put a lot, just a little bit. You can use one of these little mini daubers. I like the mini ones better than the big ones because, well, first of all, they're round and it's easier if you're doing any kind of stencil work, but it just helps the ink go on a little bit smoother than the square ones. For this one, this darker strip, you may want to put a little bit more ink on just to help, again, that dark brown ink stand out a bit. And as you can see, we have the ink around the edges. It just helps that pop out a little bit. So we're almost done here. We just have the one more strip left. And I love this little ruler. These are really great papers if they have rulers on them for these vintagey type cards. And just look how much better this looks now with that ink on the edges. It just brings so much more interest to that paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our papers up. You can basically put it in whatever order you want. I think I'm going to have it, let's see if we flip these around. You can kind of move it around on how you like. So there, I've kind of moved these around in an order that I like. And I don't want to forget about my little butterfly in the bird cage. Ink that one up. There we go. So now that that's inked up, we can start laying our strips down. And to do this, we want to make sure they're fairly even. So if you don't have a grid, all you really have to do is line up the first one up here, and then they will all follow nice and straight. So I'm just going to use my Xyron runner, and I'm just going to put a layer of adhesive down. Make sure you get the corners more than anything. And what we want to do is we want to make sure this is nice and straight. So I'm just going to place that down there lightly, and I'm going to bring in my other strips And I'm going to make sure that they're going to lay nice and straight, because if I just put the first one down and I'm off, they're all going to be off. So we're going to bring all of them in and we're just going to press them together. Make sure that they're straight. And I feel like this one needs to go down just a little bit. And that's again why I like this Xyron runner, is because you can kind of move it around even after you've put the adhesive down. There, let's move this around. And I think that looks fairly good. So I'm going to move these out of the way and I'm going to push this down now. Next, I'm going to do my ruler. Again, you can do it in any order you want. Again, this is your card. So we're going to put the ruler right up towards that other strip, like that. And we're going to just keep working the next strip. And again, I'm trying to be more, put more adhesive down on those corners, because we don't want those coming up. And now for the last strip. Just going to lay this like that. Make sure it's lined up on the edges. And there we go. And look how great that looks. And again, these are just extra scraps. They're extra strips of paper that we had from different pattern papers, and we've put them together and to complete a background, and it really looks great. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our image and we are going to attach it to the little card mat. And again, these little image mats really help the image stand out. Without having this kind of gets semi-lost in the background. And what we really want to do is we want to help it stand out, because we have other black accents in this card. We not only have the black card base and the mat, but we also have the hello and the butterflies. So by putting this little mat here, we're just helping everything kind of pop out from our card. And again, if we only had the image, it would kind of fall almost into the background. This way we help bring it up into the card. So we also have, again, this doily, and I was kind of picturing it down here. And I think we're gonna really want to distress this, just so that it helps bring it right into the card. So I'm just going to put some distress ink, again the vintage photo, right on the edges, and then we'll put it down and we'll see what it looks like. And if we need more ink, we can add more ink. And that's going to help just blend it there, and I like that much better. So let's start placing things on this card, and we can move things around to see how we like it. We're going to have room for this hello. So my feeling is it should be down here on one of the corners. And to balance things out, as we've talked about before, things in threes are more pleasing to the eye. So by having the hello, the butterfly, and the other butterfly, it kind of brings it together. Now you can choose to remove one of these butterflies and use it on another project. Like you could do it just like this, or you could just have, you could put that butterfly in the middle there. If you want, there's all kinds of options that you can do on this card. So you can maybe put your sentiment down here and your image up here, or you could even flip this up here. This might look nice. I've done some moving around here, and I really like this doily up here. I think it just helps fill in the card, and it doesn't take as much room on the bottom. I really want to be able to see these strips on the bottom. It's going to really help our hello stand out. So I think this is how I'm going to layer the card. Now that I have it set up, I'm going to adhere the doily first, and I'm just going to put some of this, and I'm going to use this little runner just to get some of this adhesive just on the edges so it won't come up. And now that I know where that's going to be, I will move this and place this down like that. And that really, really looks good. If you have a little bit extra adhesive, you can just rub it away with your fingers so it's not sticky. And again, that's what's great about these runners. And now we've got our image, we've got our butterflies, and our hello. For our hello, we can either lay it flat and have it just coming out from behind, or we can pop it up with pop dots. Now this is a fairly, I mean, it is a thick word. You can actually get pop dots here, or you can use those glue dots. They would work really well. The choice is yours. I think I'm going to lay mine flat here and then just cut off this little edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this little edge of the hello, and we're going to have this come right up to here like that. And then we'll be able to have our butterfly there, and this little guy will have down here. So to adhere this hello, I am going to use my little Xyron sticker runner, and these are sold pretty much everywhere, and you just drop them in here. There is a right and a wrong. It'll actually show you that the sticker comes out this way. So you just drop it in this way, and you'll pull it through down here like so. And as it pulls, you're gonna see a sticker being made. So now we're gonna just pull it out like this, and as soon as we see the edge of hello, we're gonna pull it off there. And you can just rub your die cut inside, and that's just to make sure the adhesive sticks to the edges, and then you won't have extra adhesive on the sides. Now if you don't have this, you can just use a wet glue of some sort. I like these matte medium because they dry matte, and you can use that to adhere the word hello. So we'll just peel that off. I'll take this very carefully off the sticker sheet. What I'm going to do is use these little set of tweezers, and this is just going to help me that I don't have to be totally stuck to this hello to place it. So again, we want the edge here to just be going off onto the black. So that is good. There we go. And any extra adhesive, again, I'm just going to rub with my fingers off, because if you put this in an envelope, you don't want it to start sticking to the envelope. So just by rubbing your finger, just make sure you get the extra adhesive off like that. So now we have our sentiment down, and we can start placing our other elements. For this image, you can either lay it flat and then make your butterflies being the pop-up, which is nice, but I would like to put mine on pop dots again. I like the added dimension that the pop dots give you, and I think that instead of layering multiple layers of paper, you can get the same effect by just using pop dots in some areas on your sentiment, onto your main image. It also helps bring what you want out in the card first, so if the image is popped up, your eye is naturally going to go to the image. So we're almost done getting the pop dots ready. And we're just going to make sure again that we're not too close to the sentiment. I really like that the butterfly is going to be overlying on the doily. I'm just going to use this strip to help line up the image. And there, that is lined up. So now the image is on there. We just have the two little butterflies left. And I'm going to use a glue dot product for this. For the big glue dots, you can just cut them in half like I did. You can also fold it over and make a bit of a ball, which will help again add more dimension. It'll help you just put it onto a smaller element like this butterfly. So we're going to add that right there on the corner. And onto this one, this is actually even a smaller area just to put this dot. So roll it up into a little dot if that's the adhesive you're using. You can also use hot glue. Hot glue would work as well. And we're just going to bend the wings so that it comes up like that. Now our butterfly is on, and looking at this, I was really feeling like it needed something a little bit more. I'm going to put bling into the centers of these butterflies. So there, I've added that bling to the butterflies, and just look how the bling just added so much to this card. And it really helps the black part of the butterfly really stand out now because there's a center to each of the butterflies. And again, we have the little mat which we are going to adhere to the inside of this card. If you didn't use your little butterfly on the outside, this is where you can just glue it to the inside just to bring a little from the outside of the card into the inside. There we go. And again, if you want to use one of the other sentiments in the card, you can certainly add it to the inside, or you can stamp something on your own to finish up your card. I really like this card, this vintagey type card with the strips. Again, we all have so many scraps we don't know what to do with, and you know, I'd like to go through some of the scraps I have and combine them with interesting ways that we can make cards. It really helps us use up our scraps, and it just makes crafting kind of fun when you can use up something, especially if you really like papers and you have a little bit of it left and you just love those papers. You can actually use them in ways that are going to be really, really beautiful. So this completes card number 2. I just love the bling in the middle of the butterflies. It just adds so much, and it just helps each element stand out. So if we didn't have that little bling in the middle, you'd kind of lose the look of the butterfly, but by adding the bling, it really helps it stand out, and it really finishes the card. So I hope you enjoyed watching me put this card together. There is 4 more cards in this series coming up, so I hope you will tune in for those. And thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day.